What if I told you that one of the greatest empires in history was almost erased so completely that for centuries most of the story we knew came from its biggest enemy? Imagine trying to learn about someone only by asking the person who hated them the most. That's exactly what happened with Carthage. When people think about the ancient world, they usually picture Rome. It's armies, right? It's emperors, it's roads, it's gladiators. But before Rome became the world's greatest superpower, there was another empire standing in its way. And the empire mastered sailors, brilliant merchants, skilled engineers, and fierce generals. An empire so powerful that Rome spent more than a century trying to defeat it. Today we're talking about Carthage, the empire Rome tried to erase. And trust me, the story is one of the most incredible in ancient history. The story begins on the coast of North Africa and what is now modern-day Tunisia. Around the 9th century BCE, settlers from the ancient city of Tyre established a new colony. That colony would eventually become Carthage. At first, it was just another trading settlement, but its locations changed everything, right? Sitting near the center of the Mediterranean Sea, Carthage quickly became the perfect place for merchants traveling between Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. Ships arrived carrying goods from every direction: gold, silver, ivory, wine, even olive oil, glass, fine textiles, and countless other products. Trade made Carthage incredibly wealthy, right? Unlike many empires that grew through constant conquest, Carthage first built its power through commerce. Its ships sailed farther and further across the Mediterranean. They established trading posts, built alliances, protected sea routes. Before long, Carthage had developed one of the strongest navies in the ancient world. If Rome ruled the land, Carthage ruled the sea. If sailors were amongst the finest of their time, its ports buzzed with activity. Its warehouses overflow with valuable goods. Money flowed into the city from every direction, right? One of the most impressive features of Carthage was its harbor. This wasn't just a place where ships parked. It was an engineering masterpiece. The military harbor was built in a circular design, allowing warships to be stored, repaired, and launched efficiently. And that center stood an island where commanders could oversee the entire fleet. Imagine hundreds of ships moving in and out of one of those busiest ports in the ancient world. It was organized, bro, efficient, and far ahead of its time. That's a fact. Eventually, there was only one problem. Rome was growing too, right? As both powers spread across the Mediterranean, conflict became almost unavoidable, right? Neither side wanted to share control. Neither side wanted to back down. That rivalry led to one of history's greatest series of wars, right? The Punic Wars. 3 wars fought over more than a century, right? That would change the ancient world forever, right? If you ever heard the name Hannibal, this is where his story begins, right? Many historians consider Hannibal one of the greatest military commanders who ever lived. His strategy, look, keep his strategy, his leadership, his courage, right? They're still studied in military academies today. But one decision made him legendary, right? Instead of attacking Rome by sea, he did something almost nobody expected. He marched his army across the Alps with elephants. Think about how unbelievable that sounds. Huge war elephants, thousands of soldiers crossing freezing mountain passes. Many men and animals didn't survive the journey, but enough did. And when Hannibal entered Italy, Rome was completely shocked. No one thought it was possible. Over the next several years, Hannibal defeated Roman armies again and again. One of his greatest victories came at the Battle of Cannae. There, his forces surrounded a much larger Roman army using brilliant tactics that are still studied today. The defeat was devastating for Rome, right? But look, for a moment, it seemed impossible that Rome might actually lose the war. Imagine living during that time. That mighty Roman Republic, right? Afraid, right? Uncertain, wondering where its greatest rival might destroy it. Imagine that. But Rome refused to surrender. Instead of giving up, it adapted. It avoided direct battles with Hannibal whenever possible. It rebuilt its armies. It attacked the Carthaginian territories elsewhere. Slowly, the balance became the shift, right? Eventually, the Roman general Scipio Africanus carried the war into North Africa. Hannibal returned home to defend his city. The two commanders finally met at the Battle of Zama. This time, Rome won. The victory changed everything. Carthage lost much of his power. Its empire shrank. Its influence declined, right? But the story wasn't over yet, man. Decades later, Rome came back one final time. During the Third Punic War, after a long siege, Roman forces captured Carthage. The city was destroyed. Buildings were burned. Many survivors were killed or enslaved. For centuries, people repeated the story that Rome even salted the land so nothing would grow again. Modern historians generally believe that part is more legend than fact. But one thing is certain. Rome wanted Carthage gone, right? Not just defeated, forgotten. And in many ways, it almost succeeded. So one reason Carthage remains so mysterious is because very few of its own writers survived. Most of what historians know comes from Roman and Greek authors. That means we often see Carthage through the eyes of people who fought against it. Imagine if future generations tried to understand your life using only what your greatest rival wrote about you. Picture would probably be incomplete. That's why archaeologists continue searching for new evidence. Every building uncovered, every inscription, every artifact helps tell more of Carthage's own story. Right? Today, excavations in Tunisia continue to reveal just how advanced Carthage really was. Its engineers, its merchants, its farmers, its sailors, its city planning, its international trade. This wasn't simply Rome's enemy. It was one of the greatest civilizations of the ancient Mediterranean. A civilization that connected continents through commerce, long before modern globalization existed. The story of Carthage reminds us of something important. History is often written by the winners, right? That doesn't mean the losers weren't remarkable. None at all. Sometimes, though, it simply means fewer people were left to tell their side of the story. Carthage wasn't perfect. No empire was, but it was innovative, powerful, right? Influential. And for generations, it's still toe-to-toe with Rome itself. That's an incredible achievement. So the next time someone talks about the greatest empires in history, don't forget the one that mastered the seas, produced one of the history's greatest generals, and forced Rome into the fight of his life, because Carthage deserved to be remembered. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe, man, because every week, man, we explore forgotten civilizations, ancient mysteries, and incredible stories that help shape our world. Until next time, bro, stay curious, man.